Nervous. I am Craig Demanda. Join with me this evening is Mr. Richard Jubtoad Sheldon. What's going on, sir?
We are in PP Pants City.
Also with us this evening is Mr. Jim Deeks.
Little pig, let me come in.
Ooh, I like the way you say that. That's pretty good. And back from Walkabout, joining us just as a special treat tonight, Mr. Jordan from Jersey himself. Jordan!
Hey guys, how's it going?
We're going. This train has not stopped. We just keep on going. All the way to terminus and
Train
beyond.
has no brakes?
The train has, yeah, exactly, pretty much. How are you doing, man? Everyone wants to know. What have you been up to?
Is this the second coming of Jordan? Is this his return?
Not quite yet, but maybe someday rather soon. We shall see. I'm finally caught up on The Walking Dead though, and I thought I'd pop in and say hi.
Well, hi. It's good to have you, Jordan. Excellent.
Yep.
And
we're on easy street, sir.
So this week's episode was directed by David Boyd, written by Corey Reed. Before we get into it, just your initial thoughts, and then Jordan, since you're joining us from quite a while, maybe sum us up to what you think is happening, the whole Negan experience and the end of last season, and just kind of get us caught up. So, Chubb, what were your initial thoughts on the episode?
There were some good moments, but overall, it was a really kind of middle of the road. There wasn't anything like super exciting. There were some great moments with Negan. His one-liners are good. He's no Abraham. I will say that right now. He is no Abraham. He throws out some mother dicks.
I was going to say, Mother Dick, Rich.
But favorite part of the episode, I have to say, Father Gabriel. I really dug. I don't know where the hell he's coming from in his mind, but I really enjoyed the brief moments we had with him in this episode. But overall, I don't understand why they had to extend the episode. Did they just want to put more commercials in?
That's what the fans seem to think. All our Facebook listeners seem to think that.
I'll put it this way. So I watch it on Amazon the next day. I have the season pass on there. So I don't have the commercials, but you can tell when it goes to commercial break. But usually on Monday mornings, I watch that before I get ready for work. And it's usually about 45, 50 minutes. That's all it really was this morning, too. So I don't think they added but maybe 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes to the actual
It would normally be 44 minutes. This episode was 106, I want to say.
Wow.
Or an hour and 6 minutes without commercials. So the ratio of commercials to airtime, as usual when people complain about it, is almost identical to what it would have been.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying it didn't take me any more than the hour I normally take on Monday mornings to watch it. Or at least
what it is with the hour and a half episodes, they normally front load it without commercials, or they back load with commercials. So there's way less in the beginning, and that last 45 minutes or so is where you get the bulk of them. So it feels like it's way more.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't have to experience it, but you can tell when it goes to commercial, even though I don't have them. And I'm just like, man, I didn't even realize. I didn't know it was going to be an hour and a half episode. I missed that news somehow. I don't know.
They have extra room for Fear the Walking Dead #passage presented by Taco Bell.
Well, absolutely.
Yes. Now, in Aaron's absence this evening, he could not join us. Jim actually has some prepared notes, and also Aaron wrote some things down. So, Jim, you'll be bringing us #passage this evening, won't you?
Just let me know when.
Believe me, I'll cue you in. You won't miss it.
But I'm actually, I'm really interested to hear what Jordan thinks, because we haven't heard from him in a while. I mean, what do you think about the turns the show's taken and how it's kind of gone closer to the book but deviated from the book in ways? I mean, as it has all along, I suppose. I mean, I'm really interested to hear what you think.
So just some recap for people who might not remember. The last time I was caught up on the show was the mid-season finale of last year. So I hadn't seen more than I'd seen a couple minutes in a hotel of the second half of last season, but that was really it. And I saw the last scene from last year or from last season, and I was on the episode to talk about it just kind of in general.
Yep.
But as of about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I binge watched all of the last half of last season, and then all the episodes that were at this point. I'm caught up now. In general, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. I think he's bringing exactly what I want to that character. Now you might hate the character, but he's portraying him pretty accurately, at least to my memory. And I really like particularly the uncensored version that I watched on YouTube of his portrayal. But even the censored one, I think they've done a pretty good job of getting it across just how vulgar he wants to be and makes a point to be, even if they can't be quite that vulgar on television, or since they don't choose to. Last season in particular, I really hated in that last half the Morgan Carol stuff. At least most of it. There were moments that were cool, and I get what they were trying to do with Carol feeling extremely responsible for. Was it Major Nelson? Was that his name?
Major Dodson.
I get that they wanted to make it that she felt really responsible for his death, but seeing as she's not omniscient and she wasn't watching the episode that we were and seeing those things flashing in his head, there's absolutely no reason she should have felt that responsible for it or responsible for it at all, really. And the whole Carol becoming this meek, I can't kill someone now, all of a sudden, like literally at a moment's notice, I now get tremors and panic attacks after a solid year of being an unstoppable badass. Didn't work for me at all. That said, now that they're in the kingdom, I thought that episode was absolutely delightful. And I did know what was going on in the most delightful way, but it was very fun to see that she didn't. So I think at this point, they're at a cool place with both her and Morgan, but pretty much the entire journey to get there was just dumb and really boring. I really dislike Shell Shock Rick, not in concept. I mean, in concept, he should be pretty shell-shocked right now in the series, but for whatever reason, Andrew Lincoln's performance is really not connecting with me. It's just that I might start crying at any moment, look in his eye, and he doesn't seem to be giving any depth is the wrong word, but there's no real variance to it. It's just that one look, and it's been that one look for now 4 episodes, more or less, since the second half of the finale last season.
He's sweating so hard.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jordan, but I also think that his explanation to Michonne, while I don't necessarily fully agree with it this episode, I think that gives us a little more insight into how he is, but I don't disagree with you that they've kind of oversold it.
Oh, again, in concept, he should be exactly that way, but I just wish there was some more variance, some more shades. And also, speaking of his explanation, it's years too late to be bringing up Shane. No one cares whether Rick believes that kid is his own or not. No, granted, no one. Somebody out there cares. Maybe one of you cares. I'm sure there are even some of our listeners who care. But for the most part, if that was going to be a discussion to be had, it should have happened like 4 seasons ago. It's way too late to care.
I agree with you, and maybe this is too early to talk about it, but my whole thing is I didn't realize this was a revelation. I thought that this was something that was known. And once I watched The Talking Dead this evening and then just talking to people at work about the episode, they're like, hasn't it been Shane all along? I mean,
but to hear Rick admit it, I think is a revelation. Like, we all kind of suspected, and we all thought he suspected. For him to actually say that, and I think the context that he said it was interesting. I wrote a lot of notes around that scene that, and we'll get to it towards the end. But it was hard for him. It was hard for him to accept it, but he did.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying is the way everybody else is talking about it, this big reveal that it's actually Shane's kid. I don't get that that's a reveal. And on top of that, I mean, there's still a possibility she's Rick's, but I mean, the math, the timing, and everything that happened tells us that that's Shane's kid.
And it's also not a reveal because he hasn't sequenced her DNA. It's just what he happens to believe. If anything, that's the reveal.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
don't
at some
care what
point,
he believes
Eugene's
about
going to stumble. At some point, Eugene will stumble across some mass spectrometer and some other, crime lab equipment.
You
He'll
are
see
not the father.
Oh man, please tell me Maury Povich survived the zombie
Of
apocalypse.
course he did. Of course he did.
He's already a zombie. He's been pre-zombied. So, good.
But he
Anyway,
can't-
finish off my thoughts.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
To finish off my thoughts on the back half of last season and this season so far, I've been pretty negative in what I've said about it. That said, I really enjoyed most of what I watched. It's just I happen to point out the things that stuck with me that were really annoying. Even as dark and kind of depressing this season has been, with the exception of the Kingdom stuff, I really think it's effective. And I thought the death scenes in the premiere were very effective. The use of that fog scene in particular, and Rick seeing all the different versions, I thought it was very effective. Was it brutal? Yes, it was supposed to be. Should they have put it at the end of last season? I still don't know. I think it kind of works just the way they did it, particularly in binge watching, which is how I watched it. It really does work. Whether that is the right answer or not, I don't know. But I really have enjoyed this half season, or this fourth of the season at this point, I guess, and the back half of last season. Even though I sounded negative about them, I still think the show's working pretty well. And Dwight, by the way, is awesome. I think I hated when he first showed up, but they have really, really turned the corner with him and made him a really good representation of both the book version, but also a really cool just version of a character for TV. To see his transformation and to be able to see that transformation and not just come in halfway like we did in the book. I don't think that really spoils anything. We see more in the TV show than we saw in the book. Is really cool.
Yep.
One last question before you go. You ready?
Okay.
Did you see the Chappelle Walking Dead?
I did. I thought that was
pretty cool.
That was pretty funny.
That was awesome.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know how I could have missed it since I have a Reddit account and showed up on Reddit at least once on Monday because the front page was just all clips from that episode of Saturday Night Live.
He's only missing like Rick James and Prince, the only two that weren't there. The characters that I wish were there, but otherwise it was very good, very, very fun.
I would not want Prince there, not this year.
Okay, it's too close.
Yeah,
You're
that
right,
would
okay.
be weird.
But let me tell you, Jordan, there's a secret on how to appreciate the back half of last season's Walking Dead. You ready?
I did appreciate it.
Oh no, but I mean to really enjoy it. Okay. Watch the back half of this last season of Fear the Walking Dead. You will appreciate everything in the Walking Dead show proper. I guarantee it. You want
That's right here. I'm
entertainment?
not caught up on Fear. I haven't seen any of that.
You and Jam and everyone else is not caught up on Fear. There was a few of us that just stuck it through, Jordan. We suffered
We
through it.
sacrificed. Let me tell you, there was blood, sweat, and tears in those episodes. Let me tell you. And I think that our listeners got more enjoyment out of hearing our nonsense than they did the episodes proper.
Well, they wrote so much. They even said they stopped watching the show, but they kept listening to the podcast. They said that was the highlight of their day. They said the show's horrendous, but you guys are awesome. I was like, okay, well, if we can at least bring some entertainment to it, that's fine. But we suffered through it. Daryl, Aaron, we were the survivors, right, Chubb? We just made it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I did it because I was promised Taco Bell, but I don't know. So.
And some wedding cake got in there somehow. I don't know. You were obsessed with wedding cake for 5 episodes, and I don't know.
Because you don't just let a cake go.
Here we go.
All right, I'm done.
Here we go. I'm done. So, Jordan, again, welcome back, and we hope to see you again more often in the near future. It's good to hear your voice, my friend, and I'm sure listeners will think so as well.
Well, thank you very much. It was fun to be back, and I hope to do this again very, very soon. But until then, just keep surviving.
Oh, we will. We will, Jordan. Thanks,
Have a
buddy.
good one, guys.
Stay good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get easy.
All right. So, guys, let's get on to the episode. Here it is. Cold open. Michonne and Rick are laying in bed together. It's morning. Michonne is restless, it seems like. She rolls over to see if Rick is awake. She then leaves bed, gets dressed, takes a rifle that was hidden in the fireplace out, kind of from its little hiding space there, and sneaks out of the house. But at this point, we see Rick is up and watches her leave, so he knows that she's gone. Michonne then finds an empty field, and which she's definitely outside of Alexandria. She's way away. It seems like in some kind of field. With she finds a burnt out Bronco in the middle of it. She climbs up on top of the truck and uses it as a vantage point to begin some target practice. And we cut to the front gate of Alexandria. We see Eugene fooling around with some kind of broken radio. I think it was really jacked up. Spencer for hire and Rosita pull up in a car. Rosita tells Eugene to open the gate, but Eugene seems kind of dazed. And again, she says, open the gate. Spencer leans over from the passenger seat and says, hey man, you want to come with us? We're going to look for some supplies, and that way we have more stuff when Negan's crew arrives. Rosita is visibly annoyed that I think Spencer even mentioned that to Eugene. She can't even take Eugene at this point. But it doesn't last long because we suddenly hear a fleet of trucks, cars, and motorcycles arrive outside the gate. We then see a silhouette of a whistling Negan strolling up to the gate. Again, it's kind of silhouette because it's shrouded by the curtain they have there blocking the gate. And he walks up and bangs on the gate with Lucille, and he says, little pig, let me in. Spencer slides open the first gate. Negan eyeballs him and simply says, well? Spencer says to Negan, who are you? And Negan replies, I know you better be joking. Negan, Lucille, he kind of he's basically referring to himself. I'm pretty sure I made a pretty strong first impression, he says. Then Rick strolls up. Negan seems pleased and says, well, hello there. Rick, though, is none too pleased, saying that they had a week and that they're early. Negan simply replies, well, I missed you. Now, that scene right there, I thought really Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a really good job. Like, he likes Rick somehow. You can actually see he admires Rick or likes him to a certain extent. I mean, like I just miss you, like that. Like almost like they're buddies. Like it was just, I don't know. I thought it was
even
cool.
though it's in a mocking way, it's like you said, there's some sincerity there, and it's something that Kirkman wrote very well in the comic too. That Negan just was a complete terror and ass to those people, but somehow he was endeared to Rick in a way, and then later to Carl. But just it's very interesting. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is doing a really good job of translating that character from the page. Really good.
If anything, I have more problems with the way Andrew Lincoln is handling the portrayal of Rick right now.
I agree.
I mean, I know what I know it's kind of from the story from the book or whatever, and I know where Rick is in headspace because obviously we've been with him the whole time on this whole breaking down trip or whatever. But he's just not conveying that for me. He's not really selling that kind of shell shocked feeling to me at all.
Well, he's emoting one face. He's giving us one emoted face, and it's
Lucille.
Yeah. I mean, it's that same look that he had with the governor, except for it lasted like a blink of an eye in comparison to this, and it just seems it's like you want to believe that he believes he's doing the right thing, but I don't believe he believes he's doing the right thing. I think that he is just so, like you said, shell shocked that it's just he's one dimension now, and that's what's going to happen is the rest of the gang is going to have to pull him back out into a 3-dimensional headspace so that he can get moving. I
mean, Andrew Lincoln is a phenomenal actor. We don't need to go into his credentials. I know that you guys had trouble with. I remember going back several years now when he had the breakdown in the prison. He was talking on the phone. And he was seeing Ghost Laurie, and you had the same type of issues. I remember, like, oh, it's unbelievable. What's he doing? It's not coming off right. I guess maybe one of his weaker points as an actor is emoting this kind of broken down state that he's in. Although look, I mean, he's doing it. We get it. He's broken. I did really appreciate that scene at the end, though, with Michonne, that at least he explains where this is all coming from.
Right.
At least this season, if anything, has been a little rewarding for the fans. Like, they're wrapping up the stories neatly. They're not stretching on these tangents for multiple episodes. Like, he wraps up saying, this is why I am like this. I can't have anyone else die. I'm just debilitated by this guy. And, so I understand part of his weaker acting. I kind of see what you guys are saying. It didn't bother me, though, so much. I guess I'm more of a Rick fan. But, well, Negan then dispatches a walker approaching the gate, and he says it was easy peasy lemon squeezy. He says, so Negan's just such a happy-go-lucky villain, I guess. And he goes on to tell Rick that he's not mad at this prick, referring to Spencer, that didn't recognize him. He took out a walker that could have harmed him, and says, that's service. Like, look at us. We're providing a service for you guys here at Alexandria. And before he walks into the community, he hands Rick Lucille, the bat, and says, hold this, will you? So Rick is now basically stood there just holding Lucille as Negan strolls into his community.
No, he's the Bat Caddy.
He's, holding it.
Let me tell you, I don't know if this thought has crossed your mind, but it's crossed my mind now pretty much since the season began, and that is the United States of America, not including Alaska and Hawaii, is 3.8 million miles square. Negan does not have control of 3.8 million square miles. Give him Alexandria, get the hell out, and move on.
Right,
You can't do any. I mean, there's obviously got to be somewhere that's better than this. You can't fight back. Gather your shit together and get out of Dodge. It's a huge country, and then there's Canada and Mexico as well. But be careful about Mexico. We learned that on Fear the Walking Dead. Oh wait, that just gives you bad episodes. Never mind. But anyway,
It's the borderland's a problem. Just the border's a problem. Mexico.
Run for that border.
Yeah.
I'm just saying is what is the incentive to stay?
Okay, I have some thoughts on that. If you're interested in that, I think that they could have. You're right. Logically, they go back to Alexandria. They load up every supply they have, every gun they have, and every car they have, and get the hell out of Dodge. Right. But if you remember on the season finale, every escape route was blocked by Negan's people, and they herded them into that area where they had the final showdown. So
right, but listen, that's why it's a sacrifice, though. You don't load up your vehicles. You don't load up all your guns and supplies. You get backpacks. You take enough rations that last you with one person for, I don't know, a month, and everybody does that, and you maneuver through the woods in the middle of the night or something like that. I'm just telling you, there's a way out. You will get beyond Negan's reach, find more abandoned vehicles, and get the hell out of here. You don't have anything that you need to stay here for. You've already learned Eugene's full of shit. There's no cure. There's no turning things around here in Washington. Leave.
All right, well, the other thing is, strategically, do you leave a beautiful walled community that's safe haven? Do you give up a prize like that strategically, and without at least trying to work with this guy? I guess that's the other part of it, logically. Do you walk away from something like that just because you had one bully in the area?
This is beyond bully. This is beyond working with the guy. This is torture and slavery. I mean, not quite to the level, that you might see historically, but I mean, you don't do what I want, I smash your head in with a baseball bat covered in barbed wire. Or worse yet, you don't do what I want, and I take your loved one and do that. I mean, I just don't see the sense in staying. You can build this somewhere else.
Well, I mean, obviously the story has to go this direction, and this is the way they're taking it. I hear what you're saying, though. There is a part of me that's screaming to get the hell out of there, get your supplies.
Right.
We've worked so hard for it. Just get out of town.
No, now, as a fan of the book, I'm glad they're staying because there's lots of cool stuff to come with the Hilltop and the Kingdom and all that stuff. So no, I'm cool. But I'm just saying, logically, from the standpoint of the characters thinking, what is the incentive to stay?
Yeah, well, we're going to see what happens. So after the first commercial break, Negan is then walking into Alexandria, and he's very impressed with the community. He says, I like it here. And Rick notices Daryl is also part of the entourage there that Negan brought with him. And Rick tries to address him and says, hey, Daryl, try to talk to him. Negan stops it real quick. He says, you do not address him. He is just the help, and you are not to talk to him. Otherwise, I may have you have to chop something off of him. Negan gets real close to Rosita, too, and kind of gets in her face for a minute there. She simply walks away. Negan's eager to begin, and Rick says, all right, we've already divided up half our supplies. And Negan cuts him off, saying, no. We will decide what we take, not Rick. So Negan then calls for his female henchman named Arat to get the show on the road, and she says, move it, and everyone starts swarming into town. Negan then asks, aren't you going to show me around? To Rick. And Rick's face at this point, he reluctantly begins to walk ahead of Negan again, still carrying Lucille in his hand. We cut to Dwight, kind of towards the gate area, and he calls to Rosita and asks where she's going with that car. Spencer was about to answer for her, and Dwight cuts him off. He then takes both Spencer's and Rosita's guns from their persons and their car and says, look, you have a new mission now. I want you to find Daryl's bike. So I guess the bike that he had last week was not Daryl's bike. I apologize for making that statement. I did say that.
I thought it was Daryl's bike, too. So
I totally forgot that he did hide his bike near those train tracks when they encountered the Saviors and Daryl got shot. And I kind of forgot where the bike was, so my apologies, but the bike's still out there. But before she leaves, he takes her hat, Rosita's hat, empties her canteen, and says, don't take too long. She's pissed and drives away. Back to Michonne in the field, a walker finally starts to approach her after a while. She tries multiple times with the scope and the rifle to take that walker out from a distance, but keeps missing. Finally, the walker gets close to the car. She simply jumps off the car and uses her sword to slice it through the middle of the head. Then as she's heading back, she notices a dead deer shot through the neck. And I guess that was by her bad marksmanship, I'm assuming. She hit a deer just by, that was kind of way off from where she was shooting towards, but who knows, maybe the deer ran away, or who knows. Either way, she shot a deer by accident. In town, we see the Saviors emptying out the homes. Negan grabs a cold soda and says, damn, I love this place. One of the Saviors brings Negan the camcorder that Deanna used to record Rick and the group when they first arrived. And we see it playing back Rick's interview with his messy beard. Yeah.
He was hoping it was some freaky deaky.
He's hoping for little blue movies, huh? And you hear Rick saying he's killed people, etc. Negan laughs and says, is that you under that man bush? Negan admits he would not have messed with that guy. And then focuses the camera on Rick's face now, which again is that broken, sweaty, sobby kind of face, and says this is not the same guy.
Yeah, it was a cool callback to
Yeah.
that part of the season.
And then Negan starts to ask about Maggie. He didn't say Maggie, but the lady was sick. And says, where is she? He has some plans for her because he likes widows. He figured that the way she went on when number 2 got it, meaning Glenn, that they were together. And suddenly Father Gabriel appears just out of nowhere. He kind of just sidesteps in full Father Gabriel uniform and asks if Negan liked to pay his respects. And Negan stops and says, who is this guy? He's creepy as shit. Freaky ass smile. He's making fun of Gabriel. That was perfect.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Who is this guy?
The more I think about it, the more it's not even like, going back to what we were saying before, it's not even Andrew Lincoln's performance. I guess Jeffrey D. Morgan is playing it so broad and so charismatically that like Andrew Lincoln's kind of like selling intense performance is kind of getting steamrolled,
I mean, I wish Jeffrey Dean would just be like more normal with Rick. Like, I wish like around his people he had this act going on, but then like when he just has a one-on-one with Rick, he's more like normal. That's what I wish. But he still talks to Rick in that kind of funny way, you know what I mean? When they're just the two of them talking together. And
it was that way in the comic, though.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So he's just playing it like that. Yeah, it just make it more normal. But anyway, next scene, they're in the graveyard. It looks like 3 graves were freshly dug and then replanted. Negan, Daryl, Rick, and Father Gabriel were there, and Negan's astonished. He said that Abraham had to go, meaning number 1, the first one he killed, and that basically Daryl made him kill the second one, namely Glenn. But to lose the sick girl too.
Pile that guilt on him.
Yeah, he just piled it on hugely. But to lose the sick girl too, meaning Maggie, must have been really tough on them. We see though a quick shot of Gabriel wiping his hands on his pants, like he was wiping some dirt off his hands. So we know, or at least they're hinting at us, that he's the one that quickly dug those little grave outlines. Like I guess he didn't dig full graves; he just maybe scratched the grass out in the shape of a grave or something, right? Is that kind of what he did and made the dirt fresh?
I got the impression he just turned the topsoil and made it look like it.
That's what I was thinking too. Then with Negan in mid-sentence talking about how he likes his widows again, a gunshot is heard in town, and then Negan's face right there is like, oh boy.
And what's weird is my mind immediately went to Carl. So I mean, that's where I went immediately, was Carl.
You knew he was acting up. So they arrive at Rick's house, and Carl's holding a gun to one of the saviors who's taking apparently a lot of their medicine, or all of their medicine. Rick insists that Carl drop the gun, but he of course doesn't, because that's Carl. He doesn't listen to his father, right, or anyone else, and says that they're taking more than half. Negan steps in and says that Carl cannot threaten them. It's not how this is going to work, young man. Even with your giant man-sized balls you seem to have, don't make me have to prove a point again, referring to the baseball bat to the head of 2 of his companions from 2 episodes ago. Carl then finally realizes it, and he gives the gun to Rick. When Negan then takes the gun from Rick, and then Negan says, you know what, I don't think this group can be allowed to keep any guns. You already had a bunch of guns, you took over my compound, and they had a bunch of guns, you got their guns too.
Now,
we're going to take all your guns.
This is a problem, okay? I can give Negan a pass here and there, but they're in Washington, D.C. They don't have to go far. He needs to read the Second Amendment there. I'm just saying, there are some constitutional rights being stomped on here, and we need the zombie Supreme Court to make a ruling. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yes, they do have a right to bear arms as zombie survivors, right? They do. And Negan is not observing their right. So after the commercial, the garage door opens. It's kind of a cool shot. It's like you're in the house, but looking through the house into the garage. It opens up to the armory pantry house, and Olivia is the one that mans that house. She's standing there. Negan has the boys go on ahead into the armory, but stands there alone with Rick in the garage and makes a comment. He goes, you know, I just want to let you know, you got a fat chick in charge of the pantry. Just saying.
Oh, and by the way, thanks, Olivia, for keeping such copious notes on all the guns.
No, thank you.
Right.
Thanks so much for that.
But I had a question about that, which we'll get to in a second. But didn't Carol steal a few guns? I mean, on her way out of town too, because she busted out of town without telling anybody, right? I mean,
no, Carol should probably have her own stash.
all right, that's maybe that's the case. Then.
Badass.
Fine, so she had her own stash. Okay, that could be. But he's gonna allow Rick to keep all the food. He says, I'm allowing you to keep all your food, man, for now. Isn't that generous? And Rick says, what do you want me to say? And Negan's like, how about a thank you? Is that too much to ask? Like, he still wants Rick to be polite to him after all this. He also wants to know if all the guns are back there, or if he perhaps is hiding a few. And Rick again admits that they're all back there. Best of his knowledge, they're all there. Rosita arrives on the train tracks where Daryl left his bike camouflaged under some brush. Spencer uncovers it and starts to roll it towards the car. He's complaining that all their lives are pretty much over because of Rick. Rick got them to this point, and that if he thought it was, he thought the people would still be with us, like Abraham and Glenn. Rosita then disappears into the woods at this point. She's just done listening to him, and she just goes into the woods. Cut to town. They're clearing out the armory. Daryl is one of the guys actually loading the truck as well. Negan wants to make sure the guns are in good order, so he grabs the Desert Eagle and points it at Daryl, who doesn't flinch, by the way. Like, he's ready for death. He's just like ready to go, and then shoots around through the window of the house. Negan's impressed. Then one of the saviors brings up a rocket launcher, and this is a funny scene too. Negan chuckles and says, "So it was you guys who took out little Timmy and the Dick Brigade."
I think I saw them open for Modern English in the 80s. Little Timmy and the Dick. They're a hardcore band out of London, I think.
But yes, exactly. It was the Euro pop. But it was so funny how he doesn't even care about his men. Like, oh yeah, that guy Timmy and his little Dick Brigade of bikers. He's like laughing. He's like, oh, it's you guys that took him out. Okay, like that was just great, total great. Then a Rot appears, that female henchman of his, shoving Olivia, and Negan's like, whoa, take it easy. Don't shove these people unless they do something to deserve it. But she says there are 2 guns missing from the inventory that Olivia kept in like a little composition book. Rick tries to play it off that some people left town, they may have them with them, but Negan's like, oh really? So then Olivia just isn't doing her job, and she sucks at her job, right? So Rick then backs off, realizing that Olivia is now in some danger, and that Negan's insisting that those 2 guns be found, or Olivia will get Luciled. I guess that's the implication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to the church scene. All the townspeople are gathered. Rick is now speechifying, but the people are not too pleased at Rick right now to hear what he's saying or what he's asking of them. He's again saying he's not in charge anymore. He's pleading with them to come clean if they have these 2 guns. Eric then stands up and says that even if they find the guns, how do they get out of the situation afterwards? And Rick replies, there is no way out of this. Negan is in charge. At that point, Eugene realizes that there are 2 people missing from the gathering. He says, hey, not everyone's here. I guess meaning Rosita and Spencer. Cut to Rosita.
And also Michonne's gone.
Yes, exactly. But I guess Rick knows, because there's a line down the line. He knows that she's not carrying guns that are in that book. Like the rifle wasn't in that book.
Right.
But I guess, yeah, we don't know that at that point. You're right. Rosita's in the woods, has her knife and is stalking a group of like 5 or 6 walkers. Spencer for hire then screams, Rosita, where are you? And draws the walkers towards her. She quickly dispatches like 5 of them, takes a Beretta off one of them, but it's empty. And then Spencer arrives and Rosita says, this is not their life. And says, what are you going to tell them? To Spencer, meaning like, I have a gun. You going to tell on me? Something like that. And then that brings us to a special commercial break. This is a commercial, and one of many, by the way. There's been several commercial breaks throughout this episode already. But it's
Wait,
episode.
don't tell me. Is it brought to us by a certain Mexican border telephone company?
It is brought to us by a delicious company that brings us great goodies south of the border. It's Fear the Walking Dead Passage, brought to you by Taco Bell. Hashtag Passage, brought to you by Taco Bell. Now, again, Aaron's not with us, but he prepared some notes, and Jim is going to now read them for us to get us up to date on Passage. Jim, would you do the honors, please?
Well, thank you. Fear the Walking Dead hashtag Passage presented by Taco Bell. Liv Moss. This is what Aaron wrote in response to this during dramatic presentation. This week, our 2 survivors are walking along and approaching the border. Huh. That is good cross promotion.
Oh yeah. Oh,
they're making a run for the border.
That's right.
They did there.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah.
There's some banter to get in some character development. Knife Woman is from LA, but moved once the fit hit the Shan. Oh, I see what he did there. How clever. And the bomb started dropping. Then, right at the end, Knife Girl tells Panic Woman how to take down a walker by sticking the knife in a certain part of the head, but not the skull, as the blade skips off. To be continued.
Wow.
And that was your Fear the Walking Dead hashtag Passage presented by Taco Bell. Liv Moss.
Jim,
I had
in
chills.
absentia and by proxy by Aaron North.
Chills
That was
down
epic,
the
Jim.
spine, Jim. Chills. I'm telling you.
I actually did get a couple chills, like little goosebumps on your arm. I got a couple right now. Like,
You may want to adjust your air conditioning.
I may have to do that. So excellent. There's nothing more to say to that. That was your special passage break there. So back to Alexandria. Rick is tearing apart Spencer's house looking for the guns. Father Gabriel comes in and tries to help and is optimistic. He says they'll beat the situation. He has faith in the group and faith in Rick. And he says, look at us. We're friends now. And that wasn't always that way. Rick compliments Gabriel for his quick thinking and the grave digging work. And then Aaron comes in and says, Rosita's house is clean. There's nothing in there. Rick continues to search and sees that an air conditioning duct in the floor is a little out of whack. So he pulls it up. And in there he finds booze, some food, like some canned food, and a little baggie of 2 handguns, all stuffed down that vent. Back on the street, one of the henchmen wants to take the green balloons away from Enid, and Carl has to watch his girl get a little bullied by these people. He makes her beg to keep them, and she does, and he allows her to keep the balloons.
What the hell is she doing with balloons?
Well, if you remember with Glenn, remember they used it as a signal?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot about that.
So Rick brings the 2 guns to Negan, and he wants to know who was the person who almost got Olivia killed by hiding these guns, and Rick is reluctant to tell him. Negan insists that Rick needs to get everybody on board for this relationship to work. On the way out of town, Negan says, hell of a place you got here, Rick. But then Rick in the corner of his eye notices Michonne is hanging out in like a burnt out house nearby, and then he asks Negan just for a second so he can go talk to her. Negan says no, but Rick asks again nicely. He says, please, let me just have a second. And then Negan agrees. Rick confronts Michonne, alone in the home. He wants the rifle to give to Negan, but she's like totally shocked. And again, he pleads with her. He's very emotional at this point. He goes, if they don't give up this gun, Negan will find it, and somebody else close to him will die. And he can't do it. He just can't be a part of that. Michonne finally agrees. She carries the deer out that she shot on her shoulders. Rick is carrying the rifle and gives it to Negan. Negan is so pleased right here. He congratulates Rick. Says, Rick, you read the room. You understood the rules. Rick then says, okay, can I ask you for something? Since they've been playing by the rules and agreed to everything, he wants Daryl to remain. And Negan at first says no, but then says, on second thought, let's have Daryl plead his own case. Daryl doesn't say a word. He just stands there, mouth shut. So I guess it's back to Easy Street he goes. On the way out, Negan insists that next week someone will die if the Alexandrians don't offer up something interesting. He says those exact words. He goes, let me make it clear. Someone will die if you don't give me something interesting.
But you already took all our IKEA furniture. What else do we have?
I don't know. Interesting is such a broad term. I don't know exactly what he's thinking there.
Yeah, and that's a departure from the books. I mean, in the books it was, we're going to come and take half your supplies.
And
There was
he left
never
the food.
this.
Right,
There was
so-
never this whole, you need to give us something interesting. And I'm thinking, okay, that's easy. You're in Washington, D.C. There's lots of cool shit around there you can go find that's interesting. But what is his definition of interesting?
I guess we're going to find out next week. Negan tells Arad to load up the deer as well. And once Michonne hears that, she just throws the deer on the ground and starts walking away. She is now beyond pissed. She lost her rifle. She lost her deer. All this could have been hidden from them, but Rick just gave it up to Negan. And she walks back towards the house. Dwight tosses back Rosita's hat, kind of as a thank you for getting Daryl's bike. He says that they took their guns and their beds, and asks if he found anything else out there. If she found anything else out there. And she replies, just your dead friends. I guess that's what those walkers were. Those were the saviors that got basically mowed down by Daryl and his group.
Right.
They're all kind of roaming
Denise.
around. Yep, Denise, exactly right. Dwight starts the bike and then rides right past Daryl and says, you can have it back. Just say the word. Daryl, again, doesn't say anything. Just quiet, totally
Daryl
broken.
leans over and says, Susudio.
That would be a pretty cool word, actually, if he would have
Say
said
the
that.
word.
And I guess Dwight would have caught that because he likes who's the boss. He likes 80s culture, so that could have worked on Dwight, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we all know what is the word.
Bird?
Bird.
Okay, no, stop. We've all seen that episode of Family Guy. We're good.
So Negan, now still on the way out, asks Rick if he wants them to go. He's just taunting Rick to the very last minute. And he will go, but he wants to hear 2 magic words from Rick. And Rick utters, thank you. And Negan says, no, don't be silly. Thank you to Rick. And says that, you know what, Rick? We're both going to come out of this winners. Again, he has a special affinity for Rick. He's just toying with him. Just then another walker appears, and Negan uses some type of it says candlestick, but I don't know, it's kind of like a big lead pipe to bash its head in. Rick starts to grip Lucille. We see the camera go to Rick's hand, and his hand is twitching, and he's kind of grabbing Lucille, and he's just about to use it, but then he lets go. Negan almost forgets to take Lucille back on the way out of town, but he does. He takes it back from Rick and leans in and says, I just slipped my dick down your throat, and you thanked me for it. Wow. Daryl is staring out the back window of the vehicle as they drive away, and Rick tries to walk after him after a few steps, but you can see like he's trying to, trying to catch Daryl figuratively, I guess, but it's just not going to happen.
As Daryl's staring out there, they needed to play The Sound of Silence. I'm telling you that.
That would have been
Perfect
perfect. That would have been perfect. Yeah, call back to The Graduate, huh? That's it.
Yeah.
After the gang is gone, Spencer has a little convo with Rick. This is interesting. Rick calls him small and weak for stashing food and liquor. He insists, Spencer insists we should have made a deal with the Saviors when they could have, and that Rick led this town to the promised land. This is where you led us, Rick. And he brings up Glenn and Abraham. He says they weren't so lucky or something. And Rick doesn't even look back at him. He says, if you say anything like that to me again, I'll break your jaw and knock your teeth out. He goes, you understand?
It felt like Negan has rubbed off on Rick a little bit.
I don't know. That was pretty Rickish to me. That was a Rick move. He just had a bad day. I don't know.
You think?
He's had a bad day. He's bringing up Glenn and Abraham right now.
He definitely
What
deserves
kind
a
of deal?
cold beer.
What kind of deal do they think they're going to come with the Saviors?
Right.
I think it shows how naive Spencer is, obviously. And even
I am honestly shocked that Spencer is still alive at this point. I mean, how he is not. I actually thought he was going to be fodder for Lucille this week, but
yeah, so at the gate he goes, who are you? Like, at that point, it's already, okay, you're done. You're finished. Yeah. Back at Rick's house, he's trying to lay some sheets and comforters on the floor to kind of make a makeshift bed because their mattress has been taken. Michonne says that the rifle he gave to them was not on the inventory. It was from one of the, from the outpost. They stole it from the Saviors. And she insists they could have even hidden more of those. Rick asks, did you? And she says, no. She also says everything we have, we got from fighting. She's trying to shake Rick up a little bit and say, we got to fight this, man. Rick says that he made a choice, that Negan's group has the numbers. Michonne says, what about the hilltop? And Rick says that even so, they still wouldn't have the numbers. Rick says, we play by the rules, we can have some kind of life. And Michonne says, what kind of life? And this is where Rick goes into telling Michonne a story about his long-lost friend named Shane. And long story short, he comes to the conclusion that Judith is not his. And it was a very hard fact for him to accept. But he did. And he accepted it so he can keep her alive. And now this is the fact that he has to accept. That to keep his group alive now, he has to accept that they work for Negan now.
That just seems so out of left field to me.
What, the explanation? You mean the
The
Shane
whole-
story, or
no,
Yeah.
why he would bring up the whole Shane story about Judith and everything, and like it didn't seem like it was germane to anything that was going on. I know he kind of tied together by saying, well, that's what I had to do, and now this is what I have to do. And it's
right?
like, it just seemed kind of pointless and like a shout out to something nobody cared about anymore. I don't
Yeah,
know.
again, like I said earlier, I didn't realize that it's Shane's kid was a big secret. I know that Rick hadn't admitted it, but again, I don't see how that was a big reveal. And Jim, that's a good point. It's like they went out of their way to throw that in there, and why? Who was still asking that question? That's what I want to know, because I sure wasn't. I don't think any of us were.
He doesn't talk about Shane all that often, though. I think it was a moment for Rick. First of all, he was opening up to Michonne even more, which I thought was actually pretty cool. And then, the second part was he admitted out loud that he knows his kid is not really his, and he never did that before either. So I think it was a moment for Rick to just expose himself in a way he doesn't usually do. He doesn't open up like this, And,
Yeah, but why now?
Oh, I
mean,
understand
like,
why now, right?
Yeah.
But then he's trying to show this woman that he loves his point of view, saying I can't have anyone else die anymore. I just can't do it. I have to accept this fact. He's still shell shocked by Glenn and Abraham's death right now. It's really messed him up. And Michonne then says at this point, it's not your fault when people die. And Rick replies, no, not always, but sometimes it is. And he pleads with her to please accept the situation. And he says, if you don't, it will not work. She then kind of gets on her knees and starts to help him make the bed and agrees to try. She didn't agree to do it. She says, I'll try. Cut to later on, we see Michonne going back to the burnout Bronco in the field. This time, obviously, no gun. She just sits on the roof, then sees some smoke coming from nearby. She takes a quick walk to investigate and sees that all the mattresses and beds that the Saviors took were just burned and left on the side of the road. They didn't need them. They just did that to mess with them.
It was an ultimate FU.
Yes.
What it was.
Yes. So that, I think, is going to change Michonne's mind even further. I think it's going to push her even farther away from Rick's decision to accept this. It's going to make her more rebellious than ever. Cut to town again. Rosita picks up the shell. The 50 caliber shell is left from Negan's shot. She goes to Eugene's house and asks him to make her a bullet. And that's the end of the episode, 90 minutes later.
A bullet. One bullet.
Well, we know where this is going. I mean,
No, I know, but
Right.
still, it's like, what?
It's a start. It's something. I mean, if you can make one, you can make two, and you can make some ammunition, I guess. That's where we're trying to go. So before we get to our very own Buster ratings, Jim, would you be so honored to talk about our wonderful sponsor that we have for the show?
DCBService.com is the name of the website that you want to go to if you want to save money on all your pop culture needs, pretty much. They mostly specialize in comics and trade paperbacks and graphic novels and stuff, but they also have collectibles. So if you are a fan of The Walking Dead and you want to get yourself a little plastic version of Michonne for your desk at work, or if you really would like to get caught up on the comics and want to get some of those big Walking Dead compendiums and read your way up to where we are now on the show, or if you have friends that are into geeky stuff, or just want to get a really cool looking Superman or Batman t-shirt, DCB Service is a place to go. You're going to find cheaper prices there than you will even at Amazon. You have much better, so they have really friendly service. They have specials all the time. Right now they're featuring the new Young Animal line from DC, which is Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance is kind of heading this new kind of Vertigo-like line of comics.
Cool.
They're doing Doom Patrol and a bunch of other great things to bring it back. But yeah, they're offering the every issue of that for 50 cents a piece. If you get things digitally from Comixology, you get 5% off on that toward your DCB orders. All DC and Marvel hardcovers and trade paperbacks are 50% off right now. And there are bundles from the new DC Universe Rebirth if you want to get on the ground floor of that. 50% off on all the bundles for Young Animal, Vertigo, and DC. So those are all things you might want to check out there. If you just saw Doctor Strange, I know a lot of people have recently seen that. You can get trade paperbacks of all the best Doctor Strange stories are now available at DCB Service and their sister site, InStockTrades.com. But I really like them. I ordered the McFarlane diorama Walking Dead toys from them. Like I got Daryl with his chopper. I got some of the blind bags. I got some extra zombies wandering around the little shelf I have it on.
Yep.
But if you're looking for anything pop culture related, pretty much collectibles, cool clothes, comics, graphic novels, books, you can find action figures, statues. You can find them at DCBService.com. What I always do is I always first go to the specials bar because they always have a lot of stuff on special, a lot of stuff on sale. Right now, Absolute Preacher. If you're a fan of the Preacher TV show, I know we covered that on DCB or DC TV or DC TV podcast. It was also on AMC, and also a lot of Walking Dead fans jumped on that train too. They have the Absolute Preacher hardcovers, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Oh, that's very cool. That's nice.
Yeah, nice slipcover hardcover editions, 50% off. So again, cheaper than you get on Amazon. We also have clearance on. Let's see, Avengers Civil War 2, Amazing Spider-Man. They just have. I'm looking right now. They have 30 pages worth of stuff on just specials and clearance. So check it out. Just if you're getting your holiday shopping done early, which is a smart thing to do. Again, all these I'm looking at page after page of books that are just 40, 50, 60% off. Action figures, comics, graphic novels. So
Did you mention In Stock Trades?
I did. Their sister site, InStockTrades.com, always has great stuff on sale. Hardcovers, trade paperbacks. Again, if you're into The Walking Dead, you want to read the books too, and kind of see how the stories are the same and how they're different, whatever. There's so many great ways to do that. You can get the trade paperbacks, you can get the hardcovers, you can get the compendiums, which are like 48 issues in one volume. All those different ways and at the best price possible. DCB Service, and I get as much stuff as I can from them. Here's a good one. Batman 66 meets Wonder Woman 77.
Who wouldn't want that, right?
I want that.
That's perfect.
It's by Jeff Parker and Mark Andreyko. And,
Oh, hell yeah. That's a matchup for you.
Crow Castle, yeah. So, again, if you have geeky friends, this is a great place to shop for your Christmas stuff, or your Hanukkah stuff, or your Kwanzaa stuff, or your Festivus stuff.
Before the airing of grievances, right? You want to get the gifts out before you do that.
Right,
Okay.
right. Then, give stuff first, then the grievances. Then the feats of strength, because then you're going to be too tired, if it goes later, But anyway, DCB Service, we thank them for their continued sponsorship of the Walking Dead TV podcast, and I do recommend them for saving money and for having great customer service.
Jim, thank you so much. And they do make it possible for us to bring you the Walking Dead TV podcast, so please check out the website. So, guys, our Buster ratings. Richard, we'll start with you.
I'll tell you what, can I read Aaron's real quick?
Yeah, you read
yeah.
Aaron's, and then we'll go. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
that way I can have a break before I have to give mine.
Yes.
Aaron could not make it tonight. He is off doing something I'm sure jet set and very cool because of the lifestyle he lives.
He is screening a movie. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but
He's not the most interesting man in the world, but he's working on it.
he's growing a beard. He's trying
He's in
to
the top 100.
Well, a recent Marvel film came out, so I'm sure his wallet got a little padded by the Disney Co. And so he's probably out celebrating. I'm sure.
Slanderous talk. You guy's not even here to defend himself.
No, wait a minute. First you guys slammed him because he didn't like a DC movie, and now you're slamming him. Oh, you're saying Marvel's paying him off.
Yes, that's what he's trying to say. Right? Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure he has a giant money hat. He's just sitting home wearing it, burning $100 bills, like big cigars.
Those Hollywood people,
laughing
Hollywood folks.
at us.
Yes.
Yeah, out by the pool. Anyway, If you'd like to read what Aaron, more of Aaron's thoughts on the episode, his review at theyoungfolks.com, there's a link to it on our Facebook group that we'll be quoting from later. But you can link right there to his full review of this episode of The Walking Dead. But in short, he left this note written on the back of the racing form. I give this episode 3 busters, and the positives are mainly the subplots involving Michonne and Rosita. Even if Michonne had to deal with Rick's nonsense, the Judith story didn't apply all that effectively. For the most part, this was an unnecessary extended episode that continues to echo my thoughts on why the Negan character is problematic. I understand this episode pulls a lot directly from the comics, but the mix of performance and writing is really not going down well with me as far as an adaptation. The threat feels limited, with more going towards watching this guy seem like a silly and childish bully who has nowhere to go but down, even though we were in for weeks of a silly grin. Of course, that's weirdly reflective of the world right now, save for Negan's desire to violate Rick's Second Amendment rights. Am I right?
Can't go there. Had to go
Clever.
there.
What I said.
Clever.
Mhm.
I kid. But here's hoping we get back to the kingdom sooner and Negan gets more shading. And for Chubbs, this deal is getting worse all the time.
Woo!
You see? He didn't forget about you, Chubb.
It's not quite the same in Jim's voice, but I'll take it.
To the best Billy D I could.
Chubb,
More of a Barry White than a Billy D.
oh, yeah, exactly. It's definitely closer to Barry. Chubb, what was your Buster rating for this week?
Well, like I had said earlier, this is a very middle of the road episode. I mean, there's some cool moments. I mean, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan, and every scene he's in, even sometimes when it's a bit over the top, I really enjoy it. But like Aaron pointed out, the real only interesting plot points of movement in this episode were involving the Michonne and then the Rosita storylines. Other than that, it was just kind of meh, and I just give it a 3 right down the middle.
Okay. Jim?
I give it 2.75, and I'll explain why. This is supposed to be an extended episode, right? And when they do an extended episode, there's a certain expectation there that something cool is going to happen. And the reason they have an extended episode is because they really don't want to break in the action, or they don't want to break in the story they're trying to tell, okay? There was no reason this was an extended episode at all. It just seemed like
Right.
it seemed like with a little bit more editing, it could have easily been a regular episode. So the expectation that something special was coming down the line was totally blown for me. Also, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is great. But as Aaron mentions, there's only so much nugging I can take of his, all at once. Broken up over the episode, it wasn't so bad. But I think he's more charismatic than the character was in the comic, and I really enjoy his performance. I'm having trouble with Andrew Lincoln's performance in contrast to that, though. I don't know if it just, he seems to like be substituting like intense silence for, like conveying this broken down feeling or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I like Andrew Lincoln as an actor. Obviously, I've been watching the show now for since the beginning of doing the podcast since then. But I just don't feel his performance is effective right now in getting across the different conflicting emotions that are going through Rick. You know what I mean? So having said that, again, it was an extended episode that really had nothing more to offer than what Chubb said. A couple of plot points moving forward for Rosita and Michonne. I have to give it a 2.5.
I'll give it a 3. I mean, I don't. Nothing stood out that again was maybe very angry. I guess it wrapped it up neatly. The 90-minute thing was a little bit of a trick. I thought someone was going to die. I really did. This is the first visit to Alexandria. I thought they were going to be a little bit more resistant.
I thought Spencer was gone.
Yeah, at least him or maybe another main character. Maybe someone else was going to go. Yeah.
You wish Spencer was gone.
I just felt that, even the 90-minute setup, you think that's what's going to happen, but it didn't. And that's okay. Someone doesn't have to die every single week for it to be a good episode. It just, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance is good. It's just, I want to see him be more of like a normal person when he's one-on-one with Rick, or even with his own people. Forget about Rick. Maybe even when he's with like Dwight, that little one-on-one scene he had. It's like he was still playing that weird kind of the way he talks and leaning back and all this kind of weird gesturing he does. Like, I want him to have his persona, but then also be kind of like a little bit detuned persona, because it's not the way he's playing it, or it's not the way it's written, or whatever. So it is what it is.
Well, that's his survival when you think about it, though, is he has to be that persona at all times, because he's controlling a huge empire of people that aren't exactly the smartest and the most nicest of people.
Yeah, they're a bunch of thugs, pretty much. It just all fell under his control. Yeah.
It would take just one of them to crack a chink in his armor of this persona, and it'll all come tumbling down around him. I think in his mind, he can't afford to let this persona down, even if it's in private with one other person. He just can't.
He just can't let that down. So I mean, it just makes him not a little bit less human than I think he could be. Again, nitpicking. I'm loving it. I don't. This is much better than what we've seen from the Governor and stuff like that, and other kind of villains we've seen in the show. So I mean, I'm not complaining all that much. But again, what do you have to talk about around the water cooler about this episode? Okay, well, he took this, he did that, but what really happened? I mean, nothing. He came and got his stuff. We knew he was coming to get the stuff. He got the stuff and he left. That was pretty much the episode for 90 minutes. I mean, it really wasn't going anywhere. There's no crazy action. A couple of zombies got killed. That was about it. So it was definitely a 3.0 for me. But who cares what we think? We have a wonderful Facebook group. It's go to facebook.com, type in The Walking Dead TV podcast, hit search, then you hit join. We get you right into our group. We have almost 800 members, and every week we allow you to type in your very own Buster ratings for The Walking Dead, and we call them Toby ratings for Fear the Walking Dead, for those of you that stick with us throughout that show. And Jim, it is your honor as always, since you're with us tonight, to read the thoughts of our lovely Facebook group.
Yeah, or definitely join our Facebook group. It's the Walking Dead TV podcast on the Facebook. It's very popular with the young people. And we start off with Buster ratings tonight with Brent Jones. Firsties, 3.5 crafty light and priest out of 5. I was hoping to see the immediate aftermath of our group survival home. Commercial break. Seeing Rick this broken is crazy. Commercial break. Amazing to hear Rick admit Judith is Shane's and hear him mention Shane was cool. The continuity on the show is something I love. Commercial break. Father Gabriel was super slick. Commercial break. Negan is hilarious. Those one-liners are great. Commercial break. Where does Daryl go from here? Commercial break. Glad they extended the episode so they could add extra commercial breaks. Hashtag if Rosita dies, I riot. KJ Bono, 2.5 out of 5. The show is getting pretty bad at managing multiple storylines. Long and dreary 90 minutes. I'm a comic book fan too, but this issue really didn't translate for me. Trying not to let the massive commercial breaks impact my perception. David B. the third, 3 DNA test proof Judith isn't mine out of 5. Hey, I think he's thinking Maury like we were. I like this one much better than last week, but I would have liked to see both the stories of Negan and Ezekiel running simultaneously. The best parts for me were every single time Negan was facing away from Rick, and I swore Rick would swing Lucille. I hope they head north to Trump Tower. Cheryl Morris Goodman, 3 yawns out of 5, 90 minutes of posturing and grimaces. No thanks. Negan isn't a badass. He's a cartoon character with no depth. Mike Jones, 3.75 mattresses out of 5. The Negan dialogue was a highlight for me. Loving everything about Negan so far. Anyone knows Father Gabriel talking like an android, and where was Simon? Hezron Max, 3 big yawns out of 5. Why 90 minutes? And what's the deal with all these commercial breaks? I could wrap this up in half the time. I agree, Hezron. DeRay Irvin, 4 burnt mattresses out of 5. It's difficult to watch Rick and the gang take so much However, the brutal Negan visits are all more entertaining than some things we have seen in the past. Cough, cough, the Grady Bunch. I thought the fake Maggie Grave worked well in this episode, but I'm feeling it's going to fall apart when the Saviors drop by the hilltop next. Johnny Storr, three out of breaking commercial breaks out of 5. Jesus, that was way too drawn out. As someone who owns every issue and variant of the Walking Dead comic, I'm starting to think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is getting Negan's character wrong. He's making him way over the top and sort of annoying, like when he came and laughed and the camera backed up for a wide shot.
That was a great shot. Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I didn't mention that. Yeah.
I don't know how something's going to happen when they don't have guns anymore. Interesting on where this is going, but tonight's Fear the Walking Dead little part was almost more interesting. Can't wait for that recap. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, Johnny. I look forward to hearing what you guys think. Yukiyoshi Sawada, a 4 out of 5. Weasels looking at you, Spencer. Mentioned Glenn or Abraham again, and Rick just might ask Negan to make Fat Joey kill you because you're not worth real survivors. Saviors, you just remember Negan is untouchable. You guys are acting like you put Rick down yourselves. Won't be missed if you had accidents. And Dwight, you can stop acting like an idiot now. Let's proceed. Negan left Rick a minute ago. Who are you trying to impress taking your hat? Stop wasting water because Negan will be mad to know you. Throw his water out. Kampai. Charlie Messing, 3 out of 5. Could have been edited down a lot. Aside from Rick finally revealing that Shane is the father of Judith, the episode didn't deliver much. Dwight was the quiet asshole last week. This week he was an over-the-top asshole. I wonder what got up his butt. P.S. Am I alone with always getting the picture of Lewis Black when Cubtoad speaks?
Oh, I see. You do convey some of that Lewis Black, that kind of angry.
I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
You look more like Ron Swanson than Lewis Black, though.
I like being called Cubtoad, though. You're the Cubs. The only good thing that happened in 2016. But yeah.
Cubtoads. That's pretty good.
Mary Turkakia, 3. Why was this episode 90 minutes out of 5? I could totally agree. As much as I like Negan, I'm disappointed we are seeing a little more to the character. We get it. He's mean. He's got a potty mouth. He can be funny. If this one was an hour, I might have liked it better, but I kept waiting for something to happen. I did like the scenes with Michonne off on her own, Rosita taking down the risen Saviors, and Negan meeting Gabriel made me laugh. Speaking of caring, I thought the last commercial break was going to come back to find out what happened to Terry and Heath. Remember them? Oh yeah, I do remember them. I missed the Kingdom, Carol and Morgan. Aaron Newis chimed in here. The Judith point was useless. I kind of agree there. Chris Pierce, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Ron Swanson zombies. Hey, I just mentioned Ron Swanson. Shane's story was about plays. Okay, we got it. Negan is charmingly sleazy. The helpless Eugene trope is getting old. Each episode he looks like more like the musician Milo.
That's pretty funny. And Chris put a picture of Ron Swanson versus that mustache zombie we saw. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty close to Cubtoad, actually. It's not too far.
Cubtoad, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gwendolyn Johnson, 2 out of 5. I'm amazed that folks even finished this episode. Karen Shee, 2 out of 5. Way too slow and repetitive. Why did this have to be a 90-minute episode? I could not agree more, Karen. Rick admitting the Judith Shanes didn't surprise anybody at all. I read all 160 issues of the comic and like Negan just fine. I also found JDM completely captivating with the premiere last night. He was just annoying and too over the top for me. Ian Rousell, 3. I need to get an Abraham quote out of 5. I really need an Abraham quote out of 5. Straight down the middle without nothing to say. It wasn't really great. Nothing to make it stand out. I understand I should watch my friend get his head caved in by a nutcase. I might have a little PTSD. But having been what they've been through, killing his best friends, surviving cannibals, the governor, why did nobody take a chance to try to take Negan down? I've read the comics, I know where to go, but come on. Belinda, 2 out of 5 gargantuan rape culture vibes. Maybe I'm not a fan. Maybe this is not the show for me, even if I've lived and breathed it for 6 years. Maybe I'll go watch Paint Dry or some god-awful ABC TV puke series, because this is not doing it for me.
Wow.
I got 2 busters from you? Wow.
Ian Timms, 3.5 Punisher shout-outs out of 5. Yeah, Judith is going to be a little Punisher baby. Keeping my review short so Jim reads it out my post. Well, Ian, I did. Michael Santana, 4, smoldering Sealy Posturepedics out of 5. Didn't mind the long and drawn-out episode at all. Thankfully, Italy does its commercial breaks a lot differently than back home. Anyway, we're going to have to see our heroes eat a lot of crap before they rise again. Just hang in there. Richard Chopper Cherry Charrington, 3.5. I just can't hate Negan's out of 5. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is smashing it as Negan. I want to hate the character, but I just can't. I really hope they do a backstory on how he became who he is. I hope he sleeps well at night after burning all those mattresses. Scott Homan, 2.5 out of 5. Did not live up to a 90-minute episode for me. The entire episode I just kept thinking, why didn't you guys just pack up all your food and guns and leave town? That's just what you said, Joe. I'd rather be on the road but armed than defenseless against Negan's rapey goons. And Brent Jones did put up the point deal and abandoned Daryl.
Right.
Scott's like, yeah, but sad to say Daryl can handle himself. It could be dead anyway. So it's good. It's a valid point. Carl Hooker, 3, creeping smiling priest out of 5. As mentioned already, this was a bit long for a setup episode. I found myself disliking the way JDM is overacting Negan a bit, almost too theatrical. I know he's a comic book character, but the way he moves his body when he talks really needs to be turned into some sort of animated gif. Is Father Gabriel, dare I say, becoming likable? Wow, that'll be quite a turn. I laughed out loud when Negan met him. And Pamela Burton, 2 out of 5. I'm already second Negan in the Saviors. I just want the season to hurry up and be over already. Wow.
I mean, I think the producers thought they had the best season ever, and it seems like our fans are not digging it all so much. We'll see where it goes.
It's a wide spectrum for my opinion. So that's why I like about our Facebook group.
Yes, and Jimmy, you do a wonderful job reading the Buster ratings whenever you join the show. So thank you. If you'd like to leave your own Buster ratings again, just get us on the Facebook page. Join group, we get you in very quick, and you can leave them right there after the episode. We typically record the night after, so tonight is now Monday after the Sunday there here in the USA. So if you can get it in within a day or so, or 24 hours of the airing, it's usually good enough to get your own Buster rating heard by the lovely baritone sounds of Mr. Jim Dietz. So, folks, any other final thoughts on this episode?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, right. I'm hoping going into the Thanksgiving break we get a little more to go on, and we see a little more Carol and Morgan next episode. So
we got basically four more episodes to go before the mid-season finale, I suppose, and we'll see where it takes us. You're absolutely right. All right, so well, again, it's good hearing back from Jordan this evening. It was good to hear he's doing well out there in Texas, and we definitely await his return whenever he can join us again. Richard, what are you working on besides the Walking Dead TV podcast nowadays?
The DC TV podcast, where Jim, Daryl, and I, and joined by our friend Jerry, we tend to cover all the DC-related television shows throughout the week, from Gotham and Lucifer to all the CW superheroes, and iZombie when it finally returns. So yeah,
very cool. And you mentioned Preacher before. When is that coming back, by the way? What Jim mentioned. Do you know when it's set to come back?
I don't think it's still spring. Spring at the latest, or the earliest. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think they said spring or summer of 2017.
And is it a 16 episode order this time as opposed to just 8 or 10 where they did the first season?
I think it's going to be 10 again. I think.
Okay. That was a good show.
I'm not 100% that, but I think 10 is what they're going to go with.
And I think if they do go with 16, they'll break it up like The Walking Dead. They'll probably go 8 and 8.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And Jim, what about you?
Well, like you said, I produce the DC TV podcast. So if you're watching those shows, listen to that. Also, Nothing's On with Daryl and Donnie Salvo. We talk about TV and movies in general. You can follow me on the Twitters at Yoda Jones, and I have a Kickstarter for my comic book coming out in January, so I'll be promoting that pretty soon.
Oh, I can't wait. That's the Steel City Shield, is that right?
Right.
Excellent. Can't wait to see that one. I know, me too. I can't wait. You want to hear me not talking about The Walking Dead? I'm hosting the Auto Chat Show, autochatshow.com, facebook.com/AutoChat Show, at Auto Chat Show on the Twitters and Periscopes, Instagrams, and me and my co-host Teddy review new cars, have some fun doing it, cars and pop culture, and whatever else is on our brains, pick over the remains of motor news. One We actually reviewing some new cars from Korea these last couple of weeks. We had the Kia Sportage, and we also had the Mazda CX-9, and we also have Hyundai coming up. So some Korean and Japanese SUVs for your listening pleasure coming up over the next several weeks at the Auto Chat Show, and we'll be reviewing those. So we actually have a little treat this evening. I will have Jordan, who just pre-recorded a few minutes ago. He will leave us with the closing remarks for this week's show for old time's sake. So anyway, folks, thanks for listening and take care.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
So until there's no more room in hell and the dead walk the earth, remember, you can burn all the mattresses you want, but you better not remove the tags.
Restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Neath the halo of a Hay Street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without